So the next thing we need to do is set up a little bit of lighting. I'm just going to go to a top view now and go back to my creation tab and click on lights. Now we're going to be using V-Ray lights. We may use an Omni light later on just to isolate a little bit of reflection or specularity, but we'll get to that later. I'm going to create, just in wireframe mode, I'm going to create a V-Ray light, just a standard V-Ray light. I'm just going to pull this, it should be fine. Might as well pull it across. And we're going to set up some settings here. I'm going to give it a multiplier of 10 for now. The multiplier is all about the space, the size of the light. There's a lot of things, so you may have to play with those figures. I'm going to leave color as the mode, and we're going to come down here. I'm going to make sure invisible is ticked. I'm going to leave ignore light normals, and the only thing, and I want cast shadows ticked. And the only thing down the bottom here I want is affect diffuse. I don't want it to affect the specular, and I don't want to affect the reflections. So just click and drag slightly smaller than the car. And that should be about right. We can adjust it in a second. And at the moment we've created it right on the ground plane. So just pull it up so that it's about twice the height of the car. Something like that should be fine. Now we're just going to arc around a little bit, hit P for perspective view, and then just give it a quick render and see how that is actually working in the space. And you can see we've got some nice lighting happening on top of the car, and it's working very well. So top light is all set up. We just need to name it now, so just go into the modify tab. We're just going to call this top light. And everything else we can come back and fine-tune it later on. At the moment we're going to leave the subdivisions as at 8, and if I show you the last render, see this little speckle pattern that's on the ground around the shadows? That is caused by the subdivision number in the light. So if I was to ramp that up at this stage, we would get much smoother shadows. We wouldn't get that speckled pattern, but it would take a lot longer to render, and we want to keep our render times fairly short while we're doing our setup. Now if we have a look at our render, we need to illuminate the front of the car, and we also need to illuminate the side here. We don't need to be concerned with the other side or the back, but if you had an animated camera that was animating around this car, you would need to consider lighting those other sides. So let's go ahead and go to a front view and set up our front light.